everybody. Welcome back to MuviesHQ, your place for movie reviews. If you've never joined us before, we rank movies using a 5-category system looking at cast, plot, directing, production design, and sound. We take the average of these categories to give the movie's overall score. This is a review show, so here's your spoiler warning. Today I'm Helen.
Hello.
And I'm Q. And today's movie is Chicago. So Chicago, directed by Rob Marshall. Or your overall first impressions, Helen? I know you've seen this movie plenty of times before, and I won't say you made me watch it, but I'm not the biggest fan of musicals, but we watched it. So what were your impressions? I know you've seen it before, but rewatching it, what'd you think?
Oh, I loved it. Per used. Watching it with you, some things that you pointed out, I was like, what? Oh, that's true. So I liked watching it with somebody who's never seen it before because you just let me see it through a different set of eyes.
Like what?
I forget, but there was a few stuff. I mean, again, I didn't take note, but a few stuff that you mentioned, I was like, oh, very good. I was like, how did I not know that? And I just kept rolling like, yeah, duh. But truth was, I never thought of it before.
I'm okay with that. Okay, cool. So you loved it? There's nothing. Okay, yeah, so I'm not a big fan of musicals. Mostly because I can't understand what most of the music numbers are saying, but this was actually very well done. I understood most of every song, if not all the songs, which kept me engaged the whole way through. So for those of you that probably like me don't really like the musical type numbers, I will give this one a chance because it really shocked me, and I think you'll see that in my scores as we talk about it today. So let's go into casting. So overall, I think three actors / actresses stole the show for me. The first one is Roxy Hart. She was played by Renee Zellweger. Helen, tell me a little bit about Roxy.
Roxy is a spoiled, rotten wannabe singer who literally has an affair and then kills her I was going to say whore, but that's fitting, kills the man that she's sleeping with, Fred Casely, after he's like, basically, what do you... Like, did you actually think you were going to be somebody? Like, I lied to you. And she shoots him dead. She, oddly enough, is who I think the weakest link is. I don't think Renee Zellweger could hold her own against Catherine Zeta-Jones. And the thing is, they dance literally toe-to-toe. So you're seeing them, and you're comparing them constantly during the movie. And you're not really supposed to be comparing their their acting skills. But for me, I definitely see, I don't know if Renee Zellweger is like holding something back or if she's just not as good as Catherine Zeta-Jones is, but she was probably the only reason that the score got the score it did.
Okay. So her playing Roxy, I thought she did a good job because I hated the character the whole time. She's spoiled. She's rotten. You every time you think she might have a redeeming quality, she throws it right back at you. And she's just greedy and selfish. But because I hated her and didn't like her character that much, I think that was a testament to her in the movie. So that brings us to Velma Kelly, Catherine Zeta-Jones' character, who's her rival, I would say, in the movie. Mm-hmm. There you go, like you said, toe-to-toe, though. You see the power dynamic shift between both of them. And I think you're right. I think Catherine's performance as Velma outshone Roxy's.
She even won an Oscar for it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, so you're right, because she doesn't have as much screen time as Roxy, but when she's on the screen, she definitely takes control. And she's in some of the most memorable.
Like, she's just... Her presence just is incredible.
And I remember her in almost every musical number. When there's a musical number with just Roxy, it's kind of forgettable. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that happened back in there. But she steals the show for me. And then thirdly, I think out of the trifecta of this movie is Billy Flynn by Richard Gere. So he's probably my favorite character of the movie. Mm-hmm. So all three of his characters are selfish beyond belief, right? And the way he just manipulates and schemes and knows the game inside and out. Like, everyone else thinks it's real life and he knows everything, and everything is a game. So I love seeing him do that, and his manipulation and his mastery of that, and just the way he could flip the switch from caring to not caring to playing all sides of the fences, that was fun to watch. And who else you want to talk about for a cast?
Amos Hart, played by John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly is such a good actor, as you can tell from this movie alone. And the fact that he just does all these stupid movies with Will Ferrell, who can't... Like, it just blows my mind.
I guess they're just great friends. And also, all those movies make so much money, so I think it's just... Because you're right, I've seen him in more serious roles, and he does a lot of goofy stuff. I think he has some show on Adult Swim. He's like... He says Dingus, I think. I don't know. I never seen it.
But again, he also was nominated for an Oscar for this. So, and he's not in it that much.
Nope.
So he's very memorable when he is in it. He plays a very sweet character who, again, you're like, geez, why is this guy with her? But he's very, like, you can see the reasoning for everything he does. And it's because he loves his wife. And I love that. And I just love that you can feel it and you can see how, in, for example, the opening scene that he's in with her, it's hard very, very well. And then I would also like to mention the chorus in the movie. They all do a great part in each and every scene that they're in, whether it's Roxy Hart doing her single, or just the Razzle Dazzle song, where they are just awesome. You want to watch them almost as much as you want to watch the main character, which I think says a lot.
Gotcha. So what'd you give cast overall?
I gave it a 9. The only reason I didn't give it a 10 was because of Renee Zellweger.
Wow, one person brought you down.
Yeah.
I give it an 8. Liked all the characters. They're just selfish, terrible people, but there are times where I don't know, I wasn't completely sold.
Okay.
I know. Just like my kung fu action movies, I get blinded. Rocky movies, so I think maybe you feel the same way about musicals. So it's a touchy-feely, but I'm happy to see you give something a higher score, so I'm happy about that. So let's move into plot. What'd you think about the plot?
The plot, again, it was... So I think, I always forget, I believe it was a musical, then it had the lyrics written, then it became a book, I think.
I think it's just a play. I don't know where you get all this other stuff.
No. Okay. Chicago is an American musical with music by John Kander, lyrics by Fred Ebb, and book by Ebb and Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse is huge into musical, like huge name in musicals. So, to me, the plot was already there. Again, I've seen the play on Broadway, and I've seen the movie, and personally, they're just the same. So there's nothing truly special about the plot. But, if I hadn't known, so I went into this thinking, the first time I saw this movie, I did not know it was a Broadway play. I didn't know it was a book. I just kind of saw it as a movie. And that, to me, everything makes sense. Like, it takes into effect that, and it's actually still true today, that there's no such thing as bad publicity. So, for example, that one guy that's in jail right now, that one rapper, 69 guy, is arrested for gun charges, I think.
Something like that.
But if anything, people are buying his music. And it's the same thing here that they showed in Chicago, that, you know, in the jazz age of Chicago, there's murders by these women, and they are the queens of the city. They run the city. But as soon as another person pops up, they're old news. So to me, they did that very well. You could tell from the start that is exactly what happened. And I think what made it believable was the fact that Roxy kept doing things to keep herself on top that we didn't see other stars doing. Velma, for example, she only went so far. She knew she was on top. She also got out of her deal as well, and we didn't know that until the very end of how she got out. And then I also like the fact that the way they do the songs and the, I guess you would say, real life or spoken words is completely different. So for example, in one scene, and this again kind of goes into production art costume, but for the scene for Razzle Dazzle, when Richard Gere is singing about being a good man and he doesn't want any of your money because he's just a little lawyer there, and opening scene is him shining some guy's shoes, but you think he's the one that's getting his shoes shined because he's this big time lawyer. But if you recognize or look at it in the movie, or the just like non-song portion, he has the same tux on, but it doesn't have sparkles. But in the Razzle Dazzle part, the singing part, he does have sparkles. And it's little stuff like that that shows what they're actually saying is in the songs, whereas who they're portraying in real life is totally different. So the songs it's just very ironic how they have the plot.
So I enjoyed the plot as well. This is a movie about greed. How fame, fortune, all those things, how wanting something, how far are people willing to go to get what they want, whether that's hurting their loved ones or manipulating people. You see that most foremost with Roxy, and also with what's his name, Billy Flynn, because the fact that they just know how wrong they are, and the fact that they're just willing to do it for almost the sport of it. It's not even a necessity thing. It's different when it's like, I have a family to feed, I need to get this, to get that, or I need to steal this money so I can go to school to do this. There's none of that. These people are living fine. They have okay jobs. They're living all right lives. They just want more. They want more fame, and they're just terrible people because they're willing to do anything to get it. And that's honestly awful. But the way they sell it is very entertaining. It's believable too, that these people are doing those, and there's people like that out there, which is sad to say, but it's a thing. So I enjoyed the plot. I gave it a 7 overall. It was pretty fun. It was believable, just funny and amazing to see what these people were willing to do to reach their goals. And overall, I gave it a 7. It was a pretty simple story.
Yeah. I think they just told it very well.
They just told it in a very cool and interesting way. So I just gave it a 7 overall. What about you?
I gave it an 8.
Okay.
Because again, I think it's one of those movies that you have to see once more, or twice, or maybe 100 times more, to see the comparison from like the real lives that they're portraying, that character, and who they are on the inside, or what's going on the inside. For example, the jail scene, where if you're good to mama, mama's good to you. Nobody else was seeing that. I mean, they all knew about it, but she wasn't openly doing that. Mm-hmm. But we as the audience, because of those songs and the plot, are taken on the inside, on the basically behind the closed doors part of a world that we normally wouldn't have gotten to see in a movie.
Gotcha. So you talked about a little bit. So let's talk about directing and the style Rob Marshall decided to use during this. I know you have a lot to say about it. You've kind of already talked about it a little bit, so why don't you finish up that thought about Rob Marshall's directing style?
Oh, I liked it. There are some things that I think he could have done better. A few times I think he does lose his way, and it's the cast that gets it back. And there's stuff that he really didn't need to put in it, like that, like the scene with Lucy Liu.
I agree with that.
But I understand why he did it here, but it didn't have to be Lucy Liu. He could have saved a lot more money making it just some random person. And
I will say, yeah,
honestly,
when I saw
at the end of the day, they could have just had that in the paper. They didn't have to bring her in kicking and screaming. Again, it allowed Roxy to up her level and lies. So I get it, but that was one of those scenes that was not needed.
I think it was needed, but I'll agree with you that when I saw her, I was like, oh, she's going to be a huge new main character. And then she kind of came.
I guess that's why I was disappointed with.
She came nothing. And went. But maybe that's But now that you're saying it out loud, maybe he did that because the fact she's such a big star, it took your attention completely. So maybe in their world, the new person that killed someone took the attention. And from a moviegoer standpoint, it wouldn't really do that. But the fact she was Lucy Liu, I completely forgot about everyone for a little. Oh man, like Lucy Liu.
See, that's the only reason I could see he would do it.
Yeah,
because it's a actress who you recognize, so
yeah,
you care about her and what happens to her in the movie, and then
you don't hear
just
about her
like
again.
The movie, Roxy steals the show again. You're like, what? Lucy Liu? Who? Roxy Hart.
I think that was the reason for it. I didn't think about that, but now that you mention it, it makes sense to me. Because I remember thinking the same thing, like, what happened? Because I remember at the end, like, what happened to Lucy Liu's character? I remember just thinking that back in my head, but that makes sense. Okay, so anything else about directing?
No, I gave him a 7. Again, I don't think it was, and like, I feel like another director could have produced the same outcome or directed the same outcome. For me to give an actor 10 or a director a 10, it would have to be something I could not see anyone else doing.
Okay, so for me, directing, I've never seen a movie like this before. And the way he just told his story. So the story's not that complicated. If you really look at it, it's girl wants to go big, kills a guy, goes to jail, hires a lawyer, makes a bunch of stories, twists the story, goes to court, gets free, gets a show. That's really not the most complicated story out there. But what made it engaging was the cuts between normal life, which is pretty dull, Chicago, gritty, and then going over to this fabulous Showtime world. I don't know if that's the right word. What's the word for like those plays or shows?
I would say like Showtime.
Yeah, Showtime-ish. And the fact that he was able to do that in such unique ways and portray what was really going on. One scene I really like is the when they're out in front of the press, doing the press release, the interview, and then Roxy starts making up a story, and the press is just eating it up. And they start spitting out what they're saying because that's not necessarily what's happening, but it's what's happening. I mean, it instead of reading between the lines, like, oh man, see what they're doing. Like they literally show you in that Showtime way, and that's very unique. And then the tap dancing thing and the court scene where he just kind of gets a oddball thrown at him, and he figures out how to do it just on the fly. So things like that, with that level of storytelling, I thought was very unique and needed a special director to bring that all together and make it work. Because easily could have been an awful, corny movie if it wasn't done right and correctly. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you pay more tribute to that in the cast. I think I pay more tribute to the directing because I give directing a 9.
I just feel like Damien Chazelle could do some La La Land director. I just feel like he could do something like that. So to me, because of that, is it really unique or was it just unique for the time?
I mean, I don't think what time it was made should hurt it now. So now we've seen La La Land, that's the fresh new face. But this movie was made in 2002. I don't watch a lot of musicals, so I may be wrong about this, but what other movies hit the kind of knockout punch like Chicago has? I think you can compare La La Land to this, but La La Land had a lot more story elements going through it. Chicago, from my first viewing, is pretty simple when it comes down to it. Just the way it was told made it work. You can easily be bored with this story. I think if it was told in a different way, you would be like, very passable movie. But the way it goes back and forth, and it gets you in the mind of the characters while also showing you what's going on really in a unique way. That's what kept me engaged. I was like, the whole time I was watching, I was just kind of fascinated how they were telling the story. I haven't seen anything like that in a movie, which is what made me so enthralled with it. So I enjoyed that about the movie, and that's why I gave directing a 9. I don't know what else Rob Marshall's done, but I'll be interested to see. I got to check out his IMDb page.
He's done Memoirs of Geisha, Into the Woods, 9, Mary Poppins Returns, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, announced to do The Little Mermaid.
You feel some type of way about that?
Yes, I do, and I don't want to talk about it right now.
Okay, we won't talk about it. All right, so he hasn't done too many things, but it seems that what he's done, he did a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, huh?
Yeah, which did not get good reviews.
Well, that
franchise was also over, how many years ago? By the third movie, I think.
I need to see them all, so I haven't seen them all, so maybe it's something we can review in the future. But anyway, that's what I gave directing a 9. So let's jump into production design. So I gave production design a 10. Did you do the same thing?
I did.
Very few movies can completely pull you out of your seat. This one did it. And also it's a musical. And I don't love musicals. So I was looking for things to hate about this movie. And I couldn't in the production design at all. It's very cool, very flashy, very showy. The way they do everything is very unique. Yeah, I was completely immersed in the world. And I didn't want to be, and it got me anyway. So that proves how good it was.
The dark side.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, this is a good movie. You got me.
Hey, people listening, I told him he would love this movie, and he did.
It's a good one. I don't love it. It's a good movie. It's way better than I thought it would be. Anyway, continue.
I also gave production design a 10. And it's just everything came together. How you have the dark and gritty and gray world with no color of Chicago, and then you go to the show tunes, the songs, and you're, as you said, immersed in this whole world of color and glitz and razzle dazzle, which is one of the songs that they talk about. And at the same time, it's kind of, well, they're singing about the razzle dazzle, you're falling victim to it, because for a little bit you're in this world of muted colors, dull personalities, and everything does a 180 when it goes into the songs. And I also like the fact that you can tell that. I mean, I think you could tell that on one viewing, right? It wasn't something that you had to really watch over and over again to understand. And I also think that everybody in their own mind, sometimes you have the idea of who you'd be in another life, and this was just a good way of seeing it, cool way of seeing it. Like, this girl Roxy, she believes what she's doing, cheating on her husband, will get her to the status that she sees herself as in her head. And we already know she sees herself in her head at that point. But nobody on the outside does. They all hear it, like, oh yeah, Roxy, you're going to be a star. That's what every girl says. But she believes it. So for her to be doing the things that she does to kill a guy for the sake of him lying to her about stardom, yeah, it kind of makes sense. You don't want it to, you don't expect it to, but in the back of her mind, she sees that making sense. And I think that's an awesome way of looking at the movie, and they could not pull it off without the sets. With the sets being different, it's still the same. For example, the song, we both reach for the gun, when he pretends to be, or he's the puppeteer, and you think at first, again, that it's just Roxy who he's pulling the strings on, but then you find out it's also the reporters as a whole, so he's basically engineering everything from a stage. You're like, whoa, he's really doing that as he sit there on the courthouse steps. But without that song, without that comparison, you don't know what's going on. You figure, okay, he's pretty good at what he's saying, and they rehearsed it, so this is all on her, but you don't realize the whole time back there, she's just blindly following him, and he's the one that's calling the shots. So
I see it as, he's calling the shots, but Roxy goes off script. Is he calling the shots, or is Roxy taking control?
No, he is. Because remember the diary at the end? That was him.
Oh, at the end, yeah.
So the whole time you think she's calling the shots. But even up until the end, he's the one that's actually controlling everything.
Yes, I'll say overall it's controlling everything, but I think in that scene specifically, scene? Yeah, I think he gets caught off guard by Roxy. Because remember before...
that get, but I meant overall.
Okay, it sounded like you were saying he was in control in that one scene. By the end, yes, he's in control.
No, he had to reign in control, but you can tell that he definitely has control of the reporters and who he picks on.
Yeah, by the end, yeah. I agree.
He knows Miss Sunshine is going to paint her in a certain light that will help her case. whereas another reporter may not do that.
Yeah, no, I agree, because that's so let's go into, wait, what'd you give sound? What are we talking about? Production design?
I gave it a 10.
Okay, you gave it a 10. I gave it a 10 too. So let's move on to sound, right? What did you give sound?
What do you think?
I'm guessing a 10.
Yes, what did you give it?
I gave it a 9.
What? Explain, Willis. Is that a thing people say?
Not anymore, no. So I gave it a 9. The original music, all the music is very good. All the music drives the story. All the music is good. I love the music in this movie because I can actually understand it. A lot of musicals, they either sing too fast or they're going too crazy. And
then you shouldn't see Les Mis.
Oh man, yeah, you're gonna have to drag me to see that one. I'll watch it, but a lot of musicals, the way the opera-ish kind of vocals, I just can't. It doesn't translate in my head. I don't know why.
There's a difference. Family opera is an opera. Les Mis is an opera.
And that's why I don't enjoy it. I can't understand it. That's like the stories. The stories are usually pretty good. When I'm watching a film, I need to understand what they're saying for me to figure out the story. This is one of the very, very, very few musicals I actually understood all the lyrics, understood the songs, the story drove, and it was done in a unique, fun way. And I gave it a 9 only because there was no song at the end that was stuck in my head. You know what I mean? Like, so some movies you see, like musicals, movies you see, and you're singing right after the theater, no matter what. I mean, it's not necessarily the most scientific thing, but 10 is supposed to be perfect, right? And I gave a 10 to production design. Like, I don't think we could have done anything better. But I just wasn't completely wowed by all the music. A lot of the music caught my eye, a lot of music caught my attention, but I didn't give it a 10. So why did you give this movie a 10?
So I gave this movie a 10 in sound because I guess I'm the opposite of you. There's almost too many songs for me not to like sing at the end of. And to me, that is just heaven. And I like the fact that each person has a song about their personalities, or like Amos has Mr. Cellophane, and he doesn't have a big role, which you already touched base on, but he gets a song because he's an important character enough to get a song. I think sometimes with musicals, people are kind of brushed aside, be like, nope, no solo for you. But that's not the case here. I think that everybody gets their fair play. Again, I don't expect him to have as many songs as Roxy, but he gets his own song. And it's about him being invisible. So it's like, but he's not as invisible as he thinks because he gets a song. And I mean, that's how I see it, as kind of a nod to him. And then the other reason is the fact that, again, they're more than songs. Because sometimes songs are forced in musicals. Mm-hmm. You're like, did you really need to say you're going to the toaster to put a Pop-Tart in there and sing about it? But none of the songs here are forced. They all happen accordingly. And you think, oh, that was a really good song, and that was a really good scene, because it just showed us another side of somebody. So that's why I gave it a 10. Because even Les Mis, for example, I think there are some songs that are a bit forced, and that's another one of my favorites. Another musical that I would say, My Fair Lady, a little forced. Sound of Music, just a little bit forced. But everything, I mean, this movie just, there's nothing that's forced in it. It all makes sense, and it all coincides with the story.
Okay, cool. So,
and they're brilliant. If you look at the lyrics, you should sit down and look at the lyrics. They're smart lyrics.
Maybe one day in the future. Maybe.
Fine. I'll take that.
All right, so best scenes in this movie, what'd you have?
I have 3 songs that I have chosen.
Okay.
The Cell Block Tango, where all the women are talking about how they killed their husbands or respective partners. And I love the scene because, one, the whole movie is about glitz and glamour, and here it is, just people dancing. There's almost no props, except I think one person has a chair, and they have the jail cells, and they have the red ribbon, the blood. Mm-hmm. That's so creative to me. The fact that they're dancing, their song is captivating enough that you don't need anything else except a spotlight, basically. that's really cool to me. Again, and you kind of believe it because you're hearing all these sounds and then it just meshes into the song. So I think that was very well done because the transition is incredible. The second song I love is Mr. Cellophane. Because again, John C. Reilly killed it. You don't get to see a side of him in movies like that, and it just makes me want more and more of him. And it's also everybody can relate to that, where you feel invisible some days or your whole life, and you feel like you're just getting by. Nobody can see you. And then another part of that song is the lighting is beautiful. So when he's talking about you can see right through me, the lighting goes through him, and he's just a shadow. And again, no props. It's just him. And then the third favorite scene is we both reach for the gun. And that's when Billy plays Roxy as a puppet.
Yeah, the ventriloquist.
Yes, and the first time... No, he's not a ventriloquist. He's a puppet here. Oh, no, she's a ventriloquist.
No, a ventriloquist is a guy that operates the puppet.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought that was a dummy thing. I thought that was only if it was a dummy. Are dummies considered puppets?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's the V word. And I love that because, again, it's just showing how nothing is what it seems. But it's a different way of saying that nothing is what it seems. And they could have easily, in some exposition, told that without a song, but they didn't. And again, I think that strengthened the point that they were trying to make. I also just like the makeup in that. And it's the costumes, everything. And the fact that, again, he's pulling the strings of the columnists from the papers is another awesome aspect that they bring in there that you don't really think about.
So I agree. I have two scenes that I really liked. One is, what's the name of the song? The last one, the ventriloquist one?
We both reached for the gun.
We both reached for the gun. That really grabbed me too.
And that's fun fact. That's the one that I remember the most from the first time I've ever seen that movie.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that said a lot it showed a lot. It said a lot by showing, and that's when I think a movie is most done right. It's a visual medium, right?
It shows so much without singing about what it's showing you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just continuing with the story, but then it's showing you what's going on behind the scenes without singing a song about that.
Yeah. So I really like that about that scene, the way it shows she was the puppet, and the fact that before she said, "This is your time in the spotlight." Velma tells her that, and she uses that opportunity, and it kind of flips that on its head too. She's not the puppet; she's orchestrating this story. She makes it up, and then also shows Flynn's mastery of controlling any situation he's in. He takes what she's doing, like, "Hey, shut up, kid," and then she doesn't get him to shut up. He's like, "Okay, well, I can work with this," and he twists the story, and then it all comes together. Her saying, making up the story, him orchestrating it, and then making the reporters come and building the story that basically shoots her to stardom. So that was cool seeing that come into one scene, and that happens all together. And then my second favorite scene is the tap dancing. I don't know, you probably know the name of the song, but the tap dancing song. Don't worry about the name of it, but when Billy Flynn
in the courtroom,
basically a wild card comes, but actually in the end you realize he knew that was coming after all, which is even better because it just shows how much he's putting up a show. He's acting like he was flustered and didn't know this was coming, but he knew for a fact from the very beginning that she was going to come because he planted those breadcrumbs in order for her to come to the stand, him to act like he's flustered and twist it all on their heads because that's how good he is at what he does.
It's tap dancing around the witness. But
Gotcha.
And not only that, but remember that he sets it up saying that because Velma brought in the diary, it must have been the detectives. It must have been the detectives that found the diary, gave it to her, and then said, "If you come in, we'll get you off of your sentence." So he set it up that way, and the detective didn't even get her off, so she just got off.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was cool too.
So just Flynn, again, my favorite character, just strutting his stuff and showing why he's good at what he does. So what would you say is the worst scene of this movie, or scenes?
None.
None?
No. I don't think there's any bad scenes. the weakest song for me is the last song, is their duet.
So that's my weakest scene.
Yeah, but other than that, no. Yeah. And it's not even a bad scene, it's just it's not on par with the other scenes.
Yeah. I won't say I'm saying it's the worst scene. Not saying it's the worst scene in a great movie is not a bad thing. But to me, I was kind of bummed because these are all terrible people. We're following a story with awful people, and all the bad people get happy endings.
But that's the point.
Why is that the point?
Because they even said in Chicago, you're in, you're out, basically. So they did their crime, and they were celebrities, and then at the end of the day, they got off and they just go on living their lives, and they just went on living their lives. I wouldn't say it's really happy because they wanted their own shows. At least Roxy definitely wanted her own shows. And
I mean, again, it's not...
they even are talking about, she's like, you know what? I'm just going to go find a place that actually has a working bathroom in it. So
again, it's not a bad ending. I'm saying if I had to pick a worse scene, that would be my worst scene because how terrible and despicable these people are. I don't want them to have a happy ending. Or if they even have a happy ending, I want to at least get a nod that it's not going to work out for them. Because the movie ends like, hey, we have Flynn got all his money. Ned still didn't lose a case. He's killing the game. And he's manipulating and playing the system because they're all guilty. 100% guilty, but he does his thing. Roxy and Velma, yeah, they don't get their own shows together, but they end up getting a headliner show, and they're filling out stadium or arenas or stages, theaters, and they go.
Does that make it a bad scene?
No, I'm not saying it's bad. I say I had to pick the worst.
But your thing is that basically they didn't deserve happy endings. So does that make it a bad scene or a worse scene, or is that just the ending you didn't want?
I said I never said it was a bad scene.
I know that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So is it the worst scene in the movie, period? Or
yes.
Do you think you would like it better if they were good people?
No, I don't want to be good people. They're bad people, all in all. The characters are bad people. And it's not a bad ending. So that's not what I'm saying. It's not a bad ending. I don't want them to become good people at the end of this. We just know, I think if you're being real with the story and what was coming up, yes, they may have got their show then, but there's no way it would end like that. You know what I mean? So at the end of a movie, I like to see...
But they're showing that in the point that in that time, yes, that's what happens. That's the whole point of the movie.
I guess the point of the movie I saw is that no matter how far your greed and however far that goes, you're never going to be on top. There's always going to be someone next coming to get you. That's what I took from it. Because, yes, they ended up at the end, they ended up on top, but had to fight, claw, scratch, and gave up everything to do it. Their dignity, Roxy sleeping with people, they had to beg and crawl back, like Velma had to crawl back to Roxy. By the end, just to get their own headliner show, they had to put their scandalous headlines together to get attention. So for them to have the happy ending of, I'll have a show, everyone loves us, that didn't fall in line with the story to me. Now, if they had their headline show, and then another person took the spotlight and started coming up to them, and then they were scheming to maybe do something else to get back in the spotlight, that would have made more sense. Like, they're still willing to go even farther to make sure they're on top instead of this chick. Like, maybe even kind of kill that chick. Like, maybe if it was a scene, like, some girl start taking the spotlight, and then they're plotting to go murder that chick. That would have been more fitting for me as an ending. But to be like, oh, happy, like, so Flynn's gonna make money because he's living in a world where he defends people that are always doing this. Flynn having the happy ending makes more sense. But for the girls to get that happy ending, no, because in the movie we just watched, we saw them fall multiple times. So next thing you know, they get out of jail and they combine names together and they're perfect and everything's fun and they have a nice show and dancing.
That's the point. It's not going to be, and you know that, and I know that. And they know it too. They're only going to be in the spotlight for so long.
Yeah. I think if I saw an ending like that, I would have liked the ending more. But again, this isn't a bad scene. I think it's just the worst scene.
of the whole
movie, because I think it should have ended on them on a downfall rather than up top. Because again, like you said, we know they're not going to stay on top because that's just the show. But that's what I have to say. So what'd you give the movie overall?
Overall, I gave an 8.8.
I gave it an 8.6. So go check IMDb because apparently I'm a guru with this. Go ahead.
No, Metacritic is what you're good at.
Oh, Metacritic.
So the critics gave it an 82, and the user score was an 8.
So you were closer this time.
No, you were.
I got 8.6.
And I said 8.8.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm with people still. Yeah. Anyway, so you love this movie. It's probably the highest score you'll give in a while. Any other final thoughts you have on the movie?
If you have not seen this movie, go check it out. Man, woman, baby, probably not younger child. It's pretty racy. That is a PG-13, a true PG-13. But I think everyone should see this movie. It's really good. Just show the downside of fame.
As for a musical, this is probably the best musical I've ever seen. That I have witnessed, at least. I have not seen many musicals, but I enjoyed it. It was engaging. It told a different story. And it was a fun ride to go on for a movie.
So what I'm hearing is you want to see more?
No, I'm not. No. There's more movies to watch.
Yes, more musicals to watch?
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, not what I'm saying. That being said,
no jazz hands over there.
That never happened at all.
You had jazz hands going when you said, "Let's give it a 10." Those jazz hands shook in the air, and you were ready to rumble and take the stage.
That's exactly what you did. That's the exact opposite of what I did. Anyway, go ahead. She keep trying to lie on me. That's fine. But it was a good musical. Yeah. I enjoyed it. If you don't like musicals, I would say give this one a shot. From the macho guy that doesn't like musicals, it was a good one. It's worth your time. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us with Movies HQ. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Help our show grow. We aren't critics, and we definitely aren't experts. We're just a couple that loves movies. And hope you enjoy your time. This is Movies HQ signing off.
Bye.